fall over down here, just pick me up and kind of straighten me out, point me towards my chair. If anybody here ever had vertigo before?
Never have.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Every Saturday night.
Alcohol-induced things are not the same as vertigo. Yeah. Let's go to God in prayer. Eternal God, we give you thanks for the blessings of this day, this beautiful day, short day of respite before we feel the wrath of winter again. We give you thanks for this great group, for the police officers that are here to share with us this day, and for our speaker. We ask your spirit to be upon us, to be upon the work of this club and our community, upon this meal, to bless it and to take it to the nourishment of our bodies and to keep us this day in your peace. In the name of the Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Rick Lindsay, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, absolutely, President-elect. Put your hand on your heart, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And now, as you remain standing, Neil and Sandra Davidson are going to lead us in God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the ocean, like as old. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Hey, y'all did very well.
All right. Thank you, Sandra.
He's done that for a while.
Yeah, that's our first compliment from Mr. Davis. That's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel
All
like
right.
I was in
Other
choir
than
again.
our speakers, do we have any guests? We do have Myron also. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
So, you like Dr. Elaine Free Robertson?
Hey, excellent. Dr. Elaine, thank you for being here and joining us. That's exciting, and thanks for pointing that out. I don't know if I would have looked back there. Friends, we do have our Officer of the Quarter presentation today, so I'm going to invite Rick Lindsay up here, and he's going to kick us off. Thanks, brother.
President-elect Shane, you stay right here with me if you'd like to, sir. Well, it's my pleasure and honor to continue this program. This is the fourth year that this club has recognized officers of the quarter. You'll remember we had number 14 here a while back. And so today is a special day for us. So I want you all to kind of think back to January, February of 2021.
Ooh.
Think kind of what was going on back then.
Yeah.
A lot of things happening. I'm trying to get poked and jabbed. We're all trying to get the vaccine. A lot of things going on with schedules and a lot of things beyond our control. So today I am playing catch up as I visited with Acting Chief Steele and gave him the list of recognized officers over the past. I realized that I had overlooked one of our officers. And so today it is both an honor and a privilege to catch up. Chief Steele, would you join me up here and talk a little bit about our officer that we're going to acknowledge today?
Thank you. Thank you for having us here to recognize Officer Nick Carter. in October of 2020, Officer Carter was recognized by MAD for his efforts to arrest drunk drivers. So by October of 2020, Officer Carter had made 31 DWI arrests. And Officer Carter is a patrol officer, he's not a DWI officer. So that's quite an incredible number. 31 DWI arrests, in addition to all the other work that he's doing. He was leading all of the patrol officers in the department at the time in DWI arrests. So he was recognized by MAD in October, and then for that work that he did, he was recognized as the officer of the quarter, fourth quarter of 2020. And then between the time that recognition came up for his 31 arrests, before DWI arrests, by the time he was recognized for doing that. So that's incredible work. I don't know if anybody here has seen the impact that drunk drivers have on the community. One drunk driver can cause a lot of heartache for many people, families, friends who have, either lost people to drunk driving accidents or had people severely injured or just had their car damaged by a drunk driver. So it's that type of work that, we have outstanding men and women in the police department, and Officer Carter is an outstanding example of the work they're doing. So he deserves to be recognized. I'm sorry it's taken so long. I know the COVID crisis really put a lot of things on delay, but it's been a while, but it's very good to really talk about it.
Sport as far as you said, October, November, December of 2020, but we're playing catch up. Have you been busy since then? Chief, you want to read what's on this award?
Yes, I apologize. I'm not to put my I no longer see it like I used to be able to. So for your commitment to integrity, excellence, courage, dedication to duty, leadership, teamwork, and accountability, we express our sincere gratitude for your professionalism, compassion, and loyalty in providing exceptional services and protecting and promoting a high quality of life for residents, visitors, and businesses of the city of Irving, Texas. For the Irving Las Colinas Rotary. Thank you, Officer Carter. Thank you.
You guys in the middle, Rick.
There you go.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Let me get one from this side. I'm getting the screen back.
I get my good side.
Yeah, right.
Much.
No, not that.
Turn around back.
Can we ask the officer a question?
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, you may.
Yeah.
How do you pick somebody that is drunk over somebody that's not paying attention?
Good question.
Experience, but sometimes it's just, sometimes people turn over, they're just on something, but a lot of times looking at the driving behavior, looking for not recognizing stuff in front of them.
Do you get calls from people on the road?
Yes, we do.
Sometimes they pick themselves, like when you're driving down the road at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the headlights coming right at you. So a lot of times I'm sure you've seen that where, the early hours of the morning, people are going either on the highway or on just regular streets like Pioneer, North Gate, or they're going the wrong direction. So those are the easy ones, but Officer Carter also picks out the more dangerous ones who, the ones that aren't quite as impaired. The ones that are very impaired usually are driving very slow, and they're just, thank you. They're very slow. They're kind of all over the place. They are dangerous, but it's the ones who are not impaired enough to know it, but they think they can drive and they're going 80, 90 miles an hour and they think they're fine. Those are the people who hurt other drivers. So, but they're all dangerous, and officers like Officer Carter are doing a great job protecting our community.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed from the partner now that I'm going back and forth constantly, is that people are just not recognizing the yellow light. they're going right through it.
That's a conversation my wife has with me about every 3 days. Maybe when she says, I have to stop an extra few seconds before I go because there's an extra few cars that shoot through. So, yes, it's definitely an issue. And, you know, our traffic unit does a great job. There's only so many of those guys. And unfortunately, you know, when they're not at an intersection, people are continuing to run those. We don't have the red light cameras since 2019 anymore, so that law changed. So yeah, it's definitely a problem. So I would, like I tell my friends and family, when that light turns green, doesn't mean put your foot on the gas. You need to look both ways because there's some people that like to kind of shoot through. They think it's yellow, but it's really red by the time they get through.
Right.
That's a good point.
Well, we thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You'll stand and give this officer. Unless you want to take more questions.
John, one quick question or comment.
Yes, do you have a special field sobriety test for old people that can't stand on one leg?
Even though they're sober.
You don't have to answer that. Appreciate that. All right, and to continue, we have our program for today, and our director of programs, Ryan Maney, will introduce our speaker.
We support you. Thank you. The support is overwhelming. Excellent. Fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, it's always exciting to bring new speakers to bring their stories to the Rotary. Not only because we share common interests and common passions and this desire to have an impact in communities, but often it's the stories that really impact us. And so with our program today, I'm going to give a brief introduction because the story is quite compelling and I don't want to take any thunder from that. But given that we do so much work in Rotary to support organizations that are dealing with whether it's human trafficking or sex trafficking or the need for education and homeless teams across our community, really fits in well with Direction61.3. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce a new friend and a new colleague of mine, Myron Wilson.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you guys for having me here this afternoon. I'm already impressed. I've been to 2 or 3 Rotary meetings. I've got to say, don't tell anybody, this is the best one I've been to.
All right, there we go.
Fun. And I can already tell that you're making a difference just listening to the conversations. I was a worship pastor at a church in McKinney for about 25 years. Got a phone call one day from the receptionist and said, can you come up to the front? We have a young girl that needs to talk to somebody. Walked up front, and here was an 18-year-old girl, and she was living out of a van, and she said, I don't have any money, I don't have any food, I don't have any gas. And I said, tell me your story. And she began to tell me how she had been bounced around in foster care and had aged out of foster care. Until that point, I really didn't even know what aged out of foster care was. I've been serving in the church world for many years, thought I'd always be a pastor, an executive pastor. I had a daughter at Hardin Simmons at the same time. She was 18 years old, and immediately I thought of my daughter. And I tried to imagine what would it be like if someone came up to one of my kids at 18 years old and said, here's $1,000. It would be great. And no support, no families, nothing. It wasn't long after that when I was officiating a wedding in downtown McKinney, and I sat across the table from a lady who coordinated foster care in East Texas. And I said, tell me about what you do. She goes, well, I work with my son who runs the homeless ministry in downtown Dallas. And I said, well, help me understand. I don't really understand, connect the dots. And she said, well, 45% of the homeless population are people with kids that have come out of foster care. And at that moment, I thought I've got to do something. I thought I would always be in the local church, and I began to form a group to form a nonprofit and look at what we could do. We had no idea what we were going to do. said, we're gonna figure out some way to help these kids. And I was driving down the highway, 75 there, going into Allen, looking on the left and right, looking at all these new homes going up, all. And I thought, we've got all this resource. We should not have homeless teenagers in this part of the world. There's just too much resource. So we began to go to work and, seek some wisdom and what we should do. And 2017, a home was donated to us. We opened our first home in 2018 for girls that had aged out of foster care. 2019, we opened our second home. 2020, we opened our third home for young men. And began to take kids in. And after about a year and a half, we realized, you know what? We need to find a better way to have greater success level. Because a lot of these kids were coming in, they were there for 2 to 3 months, and then they did not know how to submit to a program that expected them to be disciplined in their approach. So we spoke with CPS, spoke with CASA, several different entities saying, hey, what's your suggestion on how we can make a difference here? And they said, get the kids when they're younger, get them when they're in foster care. So we've since applied for a license with the state of Texas, and we expect to have our contract here, believe it or not, next week. And we will start taking kids that are 15, 16, 17 before they age out. And then when they age out, they can stay in our program and be in homes until age 24 and work to get secondary degrees. We've had roughly 23 kids in the last 2 years, 2.5 years. Of the 23 kids that we've had, all but one has been sexually abused, and most of the time by a family member or friend. We've had kids that have been trafficked in the sex trade, and we've heard multiple stories and just replayed over and over and over. And we've had the great opportunity to see some great successes for these kids. But before I go on and I move on to what we're doing now and how we're helping, I'd like for you to see a video. If we could make the video work, we're going to try to get this video to run. And these are the stories of people that are now 30, 40. And I invited them to come back and tell their stories of what they went through when they were in foster care. And so they told their stories. We put it on video for you, and we'll let you hear somewhat of their experiences.
I was in and out of foster care to
life, this is what your life was, you still have the ability to change it to what you would want it to be or what it could be.
Yes, there's gaps and things that we build within the system, but we need help and we leave. You know, I'm 25 and I still battle a lot of insecurities and worthlessness, you know. You grow up and you're told in those places, you know, you're worthless.
You have a program like this that there's no hidden agenda. It is a way for them to take, you know, desperate young adults or teenagers that desperately need help, and be able to be a conduit through Christ to be able to help those people.
So I actually talked to my daughter about how these kind of services could have helped me when I was pregnant, or how it could have helped me, you know, after I had her, somewhere that could have been a support system, a transition place, literally, so I wouldn't have to worry, so that I could have someone to guide me.
You know, these kids, these pregnant girls, these girls that are transitioning, you know, what you do right now, it touches a very deep part of my heart because I've been there.
My son will never go through what I went through. The cycles broke, and that is a testament to every person that came involved in my life and my relationship with Christ.
So you never know how great of an impact you're going to make, but just know that any impact that you make will be awesome and great to some of these foster care.
I encourage everyone to step outside of their bubbles and to be the person that they would need.
You know, there's a meme that goes around on Facebook that's, you know, be the adult you needed when you were a kid. And for us, we didn't have that. It's an answer to prayer to see people that care enough, that haven't really walked through this and haven't experienced it, but they're willing to sacrifice their time and their money and their effort, and you know, they're gonna change kids' lives. And for me, that's all that we can ask for. I mean, all we wanted was a fair shot. And for me, I think that this is giving kids a fair shot. And it might be a little late to the party, but thank you.
My name is Janice Stoner, and I'm a foster care survivor.
My name is Felicia Burleson, and I'm the Sheriff of Foster Care.
My name is Tony Dare, and I'm a foster care survivor.
My name is Liz Olvera. I'm 25, and I'm a CPS success story.
In an hour with each one of these, got to hear much more detail about what took place. Just to give you some insight into where we are with the foster care system right now. Again, I want to remind you, 5 years ago, I had no idea that this existed. But if you watch the news, you may have seen this past summer that they had kids living in offices, sleeping on tables in the CPS offices, in makeshift hotel rooms and church floors. Because at age 11, essentially, probably even younger, you're not going to be adopted. Chances of you being adopted from foster care are very, very slow. And so what happens is there aren't many people that will actually take teenagers into their homes. I mean, think about it. Who's going to jeopardize the family unit that they have to bring in a troubled teenager? That's a lot to buy into. So these kids end up not having anywhere to go. CPS doesn't have anywhere to put them. So this last summer, over 300 kids were sleeping in offices throughout the state of Texas because they had nowhere to go. Typically, every year, a little over 1,500 to 1,600 kids age out of foster care and become instantly homeless. So you imagine in 3 years, you had about 5,000 kids that are feeding into the homeless population. Of those kids, 65 to 80% of all sex trafficked kids come from foster care. 65 to 80%, that's a national number. So it's feeding all of these societal issues. And so when we looked at it, we thought, all right, how can we help to solve the problem? We have foster homes that we will be creating, and people will likely take some kids that are in junior high. But when it comes to high schoolers, they've been bounced around. I've had kids that have been in 18 homes in 2 years, all the way from South Texas to West Texas. And imagine for a moment, you go from all these different family units and all these different belief systems, all different gods, all types of values, some that place a value on education, some that don't care about education. So typically all the kids that we take into our homes are a year, sometimes 2 years behind education because they keep getting bounced around. On top of that, the trauma has been off the charts. Many times they're abused in some of their foster homes, and that's been a problem. And so we're rescuing them in some respects from the homes that they have been in. We've had severe cases, and we've had some kids come to us that you go, oh my goodness, this kid is incredible. You would never know. On the extreme side, we've had girls that have been trafficked for sex trade by their parents from age 6 to age 14. On the other side, we had a girl come to us last year. She graduated from high school at age 16 and was finishing her first year of college with us by the end of age 17. It was just brilliant, but no one would know. And so we have a spectrum of kids that we take in. We have 3 homes right now. We've just expanded to Denton, and we have 2 staff members in Denton, and we're looking to purchase a home in Denton. The way that we structure our homes, we look for investors to say, I'll buy a home and I'll lease it to you for 3 years. We have a maintenance team, we have all types of volunteers, and we take care of the homes. So in essence, what we do is we find someone that has an interest in what we're doing. We don't just go to anyone that's renting a house. And they invest in that home, and they secure investment in this part of the world, in this real estate market. They know they're probably going to do well in 3 years if they decide to sell. We take care of the home, they win with their investment, we win with having a place for kids, and the kids win because they have a place to live. And that's our model for how we do things. It can be replicated in other places, and that's why we're expanding to Denton. We recently acquired 5 acres just north of McKinney, and we're looking, and you'll see in the brochure, in the folders that I've given you, there's a brochure in there about what we call farm, and we're looking to expand that and make that into a community that would house aged out kids and also kids that are in foster care. Another unique program that we have is our Kingdom cars. So if you have a car that you don't want anymore and you want to get rid of it, we will take it. And so we take the cars. We have a Kingdom Cars team. It's a bunch of self-made mechanics, and they fix up the cars and they can do just about anything. And if we feel like it's a car that a kid could drive, typically we look for Hondas and Toyotas. But if we get something that we don't think is reliable, we'll flip that car and we'll look to buy a Honda or a Toyota or something reliable and give it to one of our kids. They have to finish high school. They have to get connected to the faith community. They have to be working part-time. They have to be pursuing a degree of higher education in order to qualify to receive a car. They sign a 1-year contract that says they won't leave the program. They get the car, and at the end, and they give us a down payment. And at the end of the year, we give them their down payment back with interest. So it's a savings incentive for them, but transportation is a big thing for a kid. How do you go to work? How do you go to some of your classes at school and so forth? So we've had some great successes, and we've had some disappointments. We've had some failures. If you work in a nonprofit area for very long, you're just going to have those. That's essentially what we do. I thought I'd share it and then open it up for questions. Yes, sir, Ron.
So Myron, love the purpose that the 61.3 has, and the need is great, which is awesome. So I'm sure there's people listening and here in the audience that would like to either contribute or engage with resources or support the cause. What are some ways we can do that?
Several ways. First thing I'll tell you is go to our webpage. We just redid our webpage, and I'm even impressed with it. I'm going, okay, that's great. But I put some brochures in there. You can volunteer for events. You can come out and serve. We have mentors, tutors. We have a tutoring program for all these kids. It's probably hard for you guys in this part of the world to be transporters, but sometimes we drive kids around. As far as donating, we're looking for all types of things, and we'll have it up and running on Monday, but it's a current needs list of materials that we need. Where if we need items for the kids, food, clothing, If we need backpacks, items for the homes. The other day, we walked in one of the homes and they said our TV quit working. So we'll put on that current needs, hey, we need a TV. As we're moving out to the farm and starting to develop that, we realize, well, we don't have a way to cut the grass, it's 4 acres. So we've got to come up with things like that. The cars is another thing that you can donate to. Then we're still trying to reach what we've done on the farm. We weren't planning on buying 4 or 5 acres. I was driving home one day and I live in Van Alstine, north of McKinney. And I was going through the back farm road and just north of Baylor Hospital in McKinney was a sign in front of this place. And it was an old farmhouse built in 1890 and 4 acres, and it was for sale. And I called my real estate lady and said, Stephanie, what do you think? And she goes, this is a steal, you need to get it. And so the bank said, you need to raise $300,000. And so we had 3 months to raise $300,000. We raised $225,000. So the bank said, you know what, we're really impressed with what you're doing. We're going to give you till November. And we're going to do an interest-only note. And so you've got another 7, 8, 9 months to raise the other $75,000. And then we'll do a permanent note on the place and we're good to go. So we're in the process of that. The farmhouse is built in 1890 and that's going to be where our offices are. And so it's a great move for us. And then we will start building tiny homes for aged out kids, hopefully within a year and a half. And our vision is a comprehensive program. Traditional foster homes for kids that are in junior high, because we do feel some families would take junior high kids. Then moving to our larger homes that house 3, 4, 5 kids at high school level. And then when they age out, they would move out to the farm and they would be in a community of aged out kids. And that's a pipeline that we can keep running and we can keep taking kids and try to be preventative and proactive instead of reactive. Reacting to the problem would just be taking them in after they've been on the street. We're trying to catch them before they get the virus is what we're trying to do. In addition to that, we have a golf tournament. If you're a golfer, we're here at a country club. We have a great golf tournament at Stonebridge Ranch Hills Course in May, and I'd love for you to come out and play golf. And then there's other ways you can be a one-time donor. We're in the middle of a campaign right now to raise monthly donors. And so there's a card there. You can scan the QR code. It takes you straight to our webpage, and we're looking for monthly donors to help us. The inflation is hitting us just like everybody else. So feeding a bunch of teenagers and just feeding a teenager along, that's enough to be on a campaign right there. These kids can put it down. And so those are ways that you can contribute, but I would say go to the webpage and look at the current needs and a compelled guide, and there's all types of things that you can be a part of.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Wilson, is there a channel where you take your donations and maximize and get more value for the dollar?
We do matching gifts. We have several different matching foundations. We do Fidelity, and there are several others that some people just match through their own businesses or corporations. Dr. Pepper, we have people that work for Pepsi and Toyota, and they honor a matching gift program. So we have several people that do matching gift programs.
What about buying power through some of the retail?
Don't have anything set up like that. Don't have anything set up like that. We are working right now with one of our investors to educate people on how to donate stock instead of donating out of cash. Donating out of stock, you end up not having to pay taxes on that. When you donate out of stock, you don't pay taxes on that because it's and everybody else wins. And you're really donating the interest off the stock. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Dr. Wilson, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here and educating us on kids that age out, and the problems and the gaps that we have in our society. So I hope we will continue to be mindful of these young people in the situation they find themselves
We do have some announcements. This afternoon, we have an opportunity that has come to us. And I'm gonna let Dr. Parra introduce Kathy Taylor from Family Promise and explain why she's here.
So basically what happened is this, Val had brought this idea up to me a while back. We were looking at ways to kind of partner up with Family Promise to do some things. And it involves actually cooking dinner and delivering dinner. And so I kind of pursued that with Kathy, and Kathy was so kind enough to indulge all my questions and also agreed to go ahead and come in here today. I really like you to consider what she's offering because I think it has a real potential to have a tremendous impact on the community for a minimal amount of time on your part. So Kathy, if you don't mind, going up, and you're a community outreach and something. And volunteer development.
Volunteer.
Happy Turner, thank you for having me back again. I was here in January and I recognize some of your faces and I've met some of you in many different situations, Chief Steele, and we got to have lunch together a few weeks ago, and Mr. Rick and all of you have been so kind. And what we're looking for here is, so for those of you that weren't here or haven't heard, just a very quick update, Family Promise is a program here in Irving that deals with situational homelessness. And so these, like I always tell people, these aren't your street homeless people. These are people that have jobs, actually. They just either, for whatever reason, they have an eviction and they can't get an apartment. Maybe they have a felony and they can't get an apartment. Maybe they make money, but not enough to get an apartment. And we find them or they find us, and that's how that works. What we do is a 30-day in-residence program through Program Apartments at this time. And we do case management with them. We teach them budgeting tools. We help them save their money so that they can do better. We also help them find better jobs so that they can make more money, then save it, and then get into housing. So it's a very structured program that helps these people not only get a leg up, but some for the first time. And I think this is why maybe my presentation stuck with you all. We teach them for the very first time. These are all families, by the way. We don't work with onesie-twosie people. These are single dads with children. We are looking to bring one into our program right now because, you know, there's no shelter ever that's going to take a single dad with children. Did you know that? And so we have a lot of minority single mothers, but everybody has children under 18 in our program. So we do a lot of things to help these people learn tools and skills that they've never had, partly because of generational homelessness, generational poverty. They were never taught, right? And that was mind-blowing to me, excuse me, because like some of you, I haven't been in nonprofit my whole experience. Matter of fact, I've only been with Family Promise a year, and I didn't know this existed. How do they not get what we know? There's a whole level they're never taught. And so that's what Family Promise seeks to do, is to bring them up to a level. If y'all look in the middle right there,
there's Aubrey.
That's our executive director, and she had a baby in January, and so she has joined in too to hopefully chime in. But all that to say, what we do in Irving is we work with 14 partner churches, and they are in a rotation with us. And before COVID, the people were actually housed inside their churches. But after COVID, we know that has changed. We're hoping to get back in. Some of these pastors, and Shane is one of ours, they have said, come on back. And then some have said, we're not coming back. And the world has changed, right? We're not going back to the way it was. So we're looking at how that works. But we do have these 3 program apartments that we house our families in right now. What we're asking the Rotary for is to become a 15th partner with us. Now, you all have to talk amongst yourselves and see if this works for you. But what that would look like is coming in with us 1 week every 10. And you say, well, you have 14, how come we're on a 10-week rotation? That's because we have something that is like a host and something that is like a buddy. You all don't have the ability to host or bring in the families inside your organization because you don't have the buildings, right? So we're looking at you as a buddy. You would partner up with a congregation that does have a physical building, like Woodhaven. So a buddy is responsible right now in this current model that we're in, where we have these program apartments, to take 1 week every 10 and deliver dinner to our families. So the way we work is I would work with a coordinator within your organization, and that coordinator would work with you all to get dinner on Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. All right? You would take dinner to these little apartments. They're in the same place. And you would get to say hello, and they're very grateful. I'm kind of the mom of the group, and I do some sort of counseling with our families, and I tell them, if anybody comes to your door, you always say thank you, and you are grateful, and you accept the meal, whether it's your favorite or not. Okay, and so anyway, we're training up, we're training adults in the training they should have happened with kids, right? But it's working, and we are seeing some success. So I think a sign-up sheet is starting. What we're looking for right now is April 3rd through the 9th. What you would be signing yourself to is to deliver a meal one of those nights, and you would probably do it in threes, meaning by this point, we may have 3 families in our program. So it'd be 3 different meals. Same can be the same thing, 3 lasagnas, whatever. 3 different meals to 3 doors, okay? I think I've covered everything. Aubrey, do you have anything to say?
No, you've done a great job. Yeah, it's the goal right now is.
We're turning you up.
Yep, we'll get some volume to you there, Aubrey. Hold on.
All right, hang on.
Okay, Aubrey, go for it.
Okay, so I just was saying, Kathy, you've done a great job. And what we're really looking for is for you all to come in as part of our rotation, to really just serve and build a connection with these families. The biggest part in whether COVID model or now, one of the biggest parts about Family Promise that makes us successful is that these families have connection with individuals such as yourself in the community, that they are treated with dignity, that they are shown love and respect that they may not have had from their own families, or that they've not been shown from others in the community ever before. And by doing that, our families gain this level of gratitude that says, I want to do well because I want to show Shane, or I want to show Kathy, or I want to show, any one of you, I want to show them that I can do this and that I can succeed. And it comes into this level of a relationship that you may only meet this family once or twice, but they remember you. We have a relationship with these families long beyond they graduate from our program. And they often say, oh, how's Miss Barbara doing at Woodhaven? Or I remember Pastor Shane, is he doing good? Or, and so they always remember the impact that our volunteers and churches have made on them. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to see these families succeed, but also that they start believing in themselves and they contribute back to the community, both by working, and then sometimes families come back and work with Family Promise of Irving as volunteers and provide meals as well.
Okay, thank you, Aubrey. There's a couple questions that have come up. One is, and there's one thing I forgot to mention as well. So dinner is the most impactful thing that we do, but we do want to take care of all the bills for these folks while they're in our program. So we feed them breakfast and lunch as well. That is not something that we hand a meal to. That is done through a grocery order at Walmart. And so that looks like $130-ish. It's actually more, but this is all we're asking of our partners, $130 per family per week. So within the week that you all are involved, if we had 3 families, that would be $390 we're asking of the group that would come to us to help with breakfast and lunch. And then the meal would be hand delivered. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's that. All right, the other question is what time frame does the food need to be delivered? These guys work, and we're so proud for that. So about 6:30 at night. So it might interrupt your own dinner that night, but that's okay. That's okay, because remember, they're gonna have a smile on their face and they're gonna say thank you. And if they don't, you better tell me. Do we need to supply paper plates? No, absolutely not. They live in apartments and we have supplied everything they need, just like a home. So they've got all of that. Do you need to supply a beverage as well? And if so, what is appropriate? So we are faith-based, so obviously anything within that would be fine, which means no alcohol. You can, sometimes if I have to send dinner to them, I don't typically send beverages because they can put those in their Walmart orders, juice or tea or something. So if you'd like to, feel free, but that is not something we are requiring of our folks. And do we need to include in a dessert? That's on you. If you'd like to, feel free. I've seen people get a homemade apple pie, but that is not necessary as well. So, all right.
So essentially entree.
Entree, sides, salad, things like that. Yeah, just very, very simple.
How many people in each apartment?
That's a great question. So it obviously changes depending on the family. But on the weekends, we have one family right now who is in a custody situation with another parent that does not live in the program. And so that adds 3 additional kids on the weekends. So if we were to talk about doing this second, because by April, it may be a little different, but you all would know coming in. We have 2 that jumps up to 5 in one house. We have 3 in another, and then a potential 2 in another. We can utilize up to 14 at a time. But at this moment, if you were to deliver tonight, you would be delivering to 2 in one apartment and 3 in another. So these aren't huge. Did I answer your question too? Okay.
Oh, one more.
I have a couple questions. Are these meals being served warm then, or is it intended that they will be heated or what?
That's a great question too. The meals being served warm, they're usually brought hot, but then again, if it's something that they needed to cook, I have seen this. All right, so this is it depends on if we've got one person that's delivering 2 nights in a row. I've actually watched them hand a meal a day ahead that needs to be cooked the next day. Yeah. So if that were coordinated, you could do it, but mostly it's just ready to eat when you deliver it because they're hungry.
And I've kind of created a survey for the families that, just for more information.
Sure.
Date of delivery, how many in the household, adults and children, any vegetarians? Are there any food allergies or sensitivities? Yeah. I have a background in hospitality, can you tell? Any food preferences or any foods we avoid or any favorite foods, kind of like a steering type of thing. Is that too much?
No, it's not too much at all. When
we have a food preference form.
Process, we have I would love to see your survey. We have a similar sheet where we're asking for any type of allergies or specific dietary needs. And maybe we could add some of yours onto ours, but you would be given that if you asked for it when your week comes around. So what this would look like is you all would decide amongst yourselves if you would want to go into rotation. We would so love it. We would love to bring you in for a week every 10 weeks. But for the sign-up sheet, that would be April the 3rd right now, see how it goes, and then, continue on. It's a wonderful program, and these guys are, I get texts all the time from people, they were really nice. I don't know what you expected, but they were just like us, and they're really appreciative, so.
Mr. President, I talked to a couple members of the club, so I'd like to make a motion that we give $390 to take care of the meals for the breakfast and lunch the week of April 3rd. My family will take care of the Sunday night meal, and I want to make a motion to give $500 to the speaker today for what he's doing. I think we have a second in the room.
I'll second.
So if you want to call for the vote.
Yes, and I would, in good order, I'd like to make that, those two motions, one omnibus motion. So all those in favor of both, giving to both people, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Pass. Nice.
Rick, we are past time. Can we do the flag update next week?
Give me 5 seconds.
You got it.
5
We
seconds.
have 843 flags that have been paid. Great job, Kathy Howard. Great job, Bob, getting that advertised. We have 773 pending. We still have our work cut out for us. 10 weeks to go, I think, or 11 till first display. Great job, team. Keep selling.
All right.
Awesome, thank you. All right, at this time, Dr. Bill.
We can anticipate flag building starting in April.
April.
Starting in
Okay.
April, once it warms up, we'll build flags.
Coming soon. All right, with that, we're a little past time, but we had a lot of good information and presentations. I'm going to invite Cody Johns to lead us in our four-way test. If you please stand.
All right, Cody.
Please join me on our four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it true?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
and fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you all. May you have a blessed week and hope to see you back next time. Peace.
Right on, Shane. Nice job, buddy.